Hello, everybody, and welcome to Drone Therapy Season 4, Episode 10, The Drone Table, with very special guests, those guys.
So what's good, man?
Hey, what's up?
What's up, Bill? How are you, man?
Ethan came in at the last minute from the West. The West Coast is representing now, man.
Yeah, I'm not used to the time.
Yeah, it is. Oh. It is a ripper for sure. Yeah, because when I went,
dude, you've had a couple of weeks to get used to it. Come on.
It's still really weird whenever we because we call home quite a bit, and everybody back home is like, and it's just a little different.
Yeah, it is.
No, that's understandable.
I'll be like, what are you doing, man? Are you getting ready to go to bed? And be like, nah, man, it's only 6 o'clock. I'm watching the news.
Right.
But yeah. Right. I like it out here better. I don't know how considering you're kind of in a battlefield down there like we are up here, so everybody just kind of locked inside except for the healthcare providers and workers, and we salute you, Ethan Mitchell. I'm glad to have you out here.
I agree 100%. I salute all of the emergency care workers out there.
He's on this. There he is. No, he's still working.
Because right now in New York, they just had a report on the news yesterday that the nurses are starting to get really upset because all of the masks and stuff that they have in these hospitals is running out quickly.
Oh,
yep. There's a mask shortage. And
hey, what's up, Paul? They're wasting a lot of masks and these quarantine suits just to test people.
Yeah.
And right now in New York, there aren't a lot of places to test anyone.
Yeah, we've had a lot of patients coming in asking for masks, and unfortunately, unless they're coughing or they have showing the symptoms, we can't give them one because we need them for us.
Well, I just want to. I'm glad to have you safe and sound. I've been worried about you because we barely been hearing from you, but I figured you was working long hours. Glad to have you back, my friend. Ron Brown is in the middle of his Major League Baseball fantasy draft and will be joining us shortly. John Cuppi is very busy doing his day job, and as soon as he can catch up on his day job work, he will be here as well. I want to run down very quickly with the names in the chat. I see Matthew. I see Drone Shots. I see Novice Quads, who happens to be one of the gentlemen here. Grumpy Vlogger. Michael Blade. Paul Murray, good to see you. Jackson RC Aviation. Please, gentlemen, help me out. Stingray Aerial Solutions. Anybody I missed? Help me out. Arco.
Santiago.
Santiago.
Oh, he got him.
Okay.
The Craft
King just came in. Good to see you. Glad to have everyone here. Okay, the premise of the drone table, since we've got, like I said, our esteemed colleagues from the East Coast, and I've got now Ethan with me on the West Coast. We would like your input as well as everyone here. We would like to know, of course, we know that the remote ID is really burning the butt to all of us, and we would like to come up with ideas for that. But the drone table, the reason I wanted to do it for some special event is thanks to you all and everybody here. I finally broke 1,000 subscribers. It only took 4 million years, but thank you very much. I'm grateful for that. And so we're going to have a drone table where everybody here is involved, where everybody in the chat's involved. You can talk about FPV. You can talk about software. You can talk about upgrades to drones, like why doesn't Mavic Mini have manual white balance? Anything. I don't care if it could be new motors or something you think could be upgraded on FPV motors. I don't care. Anything and everything, because we're all shut in and we got plenty of time to talk about drones and anybody had got a chance to fly drones and everything. So with that being said, I would like to pass it around the room and let our guests introduce themselves. First off with Mr. Novice Quads. Lawrence.
Hey, what's up, Novice Quads? You guys know me as Lawrence. I've been flying drones for 4 years. I just got into FPV. I was into FPV for about 1.5 years, but the last 6 months I've been really flying FPV. So that's pretty much coming from southern New York. In fact, I live 4 blocks from the Atlantic Ocean. If you go any further south, you're either going to hit down south, Jersey states, all of that stuff. Nothing major, nothing important.
And next up, Herman from Phantom Flight 101, and I see Ethan dropped out. Hopefully he'll be back.
Phantom Flight 101.
Yeah, Phantom Flight 101. Sorry.
Brooklyn born and raised. I've been flying about almost 3 years now. I got into it because out of something that I needed to do, and I was always interested in, but never quite had the time. And I had the time to get into it, so I got into it and I fell in love with it, and just been buying them ever since and flying.
Yeah. Are you flying FPV too?
No. I just it looks interesting, but the tinkering right now.
Yeah, that's kind of like me. If it was already set up and somebody could teach me how to just fly it, I'd be happy.
No, I mean, when I was younger, I might have loved that, but
yeah.
Now I just want to fly, and because I went to school to do certain things, and it's just like I've always liked cameras.
Yeah, that's me too. I love taking pictures as well.
It's always been around that. It's never really been about the building of the drone. Believe me, if like I said, when I was younger, and you told me you teach me how to build a drone and it's going to fly, I'd be all in. If that was the technology at the time, but now I just want to fly.
All right, I tell you what. Yeah, that's the same as me. That's what I would like to do, and it's cool that you are. I was the same way. I happened to see a guy fly a drone and post a drone video on Facebook, and that I was hooked because of the pictures he was taking, because the videos he was taking, and I've been about 3 years the same with me too. Ethan, okay, Ethan, your turn. Good to have you back.
Oh, thanks. So yeah, just having some issues with the hotel Wi-Fi, but we'll figure it out. But yeah, I'm over here on the West Coast now with Bill, so it's very pretty down here. I haven't had a chance to fly in the past 2 weeks since we've been here, but I'm very anxious to get out because there is a ton of nice places around here.
Yes, there are. I just wish the circumstances were better because I'm not going to be coming down that way.
Right.
Paul Murray now says Coast to Coast Drones is all about the power loop, tree uncontrolled landing. I wonder who I'm speaking of here.
Probably Paul got jokes. All right. And the reason I showed that actual video is because with the crash is because people say they know I'm getting into FPV. So they say they want to see the progress. So rather than just show all the good, I show my crashes too. The entire flight was good up until I went to go do a power loop and the tree stepped in front of me.
Yeah, that'll happen.
So but I've made it a promise to show my failures as well as my success.
Papa Drone in the house. Papa Drone in the house.
Bill,
hey, Roger.
I just blasted your live stream in 3 places on social media. So let hopefully we'll see these numbers jump up and get some more people in here because we get a lot of lurkers. You do too.
Oh, of course we do.
Where'd you send it?
In those guys, Flight Fanatics NYC. You know what? Let's put it in 5 Borough NYC.
Yeah, put it in 5 Borough.
Yeah. That's the ticket. There's a lot of lurkers from there.
They'll 5 boroughs.
Yeah.
Well,
you'll see the numbers spike up and down, definitely.
Well, somebody give us a subject to start off the drone table. I don't care. Anybody. You can set remote ID or anything.
Well, I thought I'd let you guys know that I did. If you guys have been keeping up with any new FPV frames, I did purchase the Syndrome Thick frame. It's a octocopter but it's still a 4-arm, but it's got dual motors on each arm, and so I'm hoping to fly one of my mirrorless cameras with that.
Okay,
interesting.
So it's a heavy lift, is what it is. So I'm really excited about that. So we can get some, hopefully I'll be able to get some HDR footage of FPV. So I'm really looking forward to that.
That should be interesting. The only HDR stuff that I've seen that's half decent has been on these dual camera birds they're coming out with. I saw a couple of dual Caddx cameras that had a 4K camera.
Yeah.
My only problem is what frame rate is that? Because I didn't actually check the specs, but I did see one 4K camera with an FPV camera on it, and I'm like, it's got to be at a minimum of 24 and at least a maximum of 30.
So the true HDR is 10-bit color, which can be at 30 or 60 frames a second, but you need right now the only flying camera that I know of that'll do it is the Mavic 2 Pro, and it does it at 24 or 30 frames per second. The other cameras like the GoPros and the Osmo Actions that have HDR settings on them, but basically it's not true HDR. What you're getting is almost like it's an HDR effect. And
it's enhanced.
Right. It's using dual ISO. So
what's up, Keith?
It's really shooting at 60 frames a second, but one frame is at a high ISO, one frame is at a low ISO. So it combines the two, and that's how you get that extended dynamic range with it.
Okay.
But it's not true HDR for Dolby Vision or anything.
And you're building a syndrome.
Yep.
Okay.
It's going to be I think it's a 7-inch, but it's going to be basically eight props, 8 motors. So.
Oh, all right. So you're building a big boy.
Yeah, it's going to be a heavy lift. So.
Yeah.
I would be tickled if somebody could make like a GoPro type camera that had the same specs as like a Mavic 2 Pro camera. That would be awesome, but nobody's made it yet.
It'll happen, just not in our FPV lifetime.
Right. Not soon enough.
All the good stuff when my fingers can't pinch anymore.
Right.
Hey,
Bill, I wanted to let everyone know. So this Wi-Fi here is slow, so I can't have 2 screens at the same time, so I can't see what the chat's doing. So if anybody says anything to me, can you just let me know?
Very, very perfectly cool. That's why I jumped that up there. Nemo's in the chat hanging out with us. He said, "Sup, bro?"
What's up, Nemo? How's it going, buddy?
Supported your channel, Nemo.
Yeah, all right. Herman's gonna deck out for a second. He's got to go do some stuff. Glad to have Nemo in the house. Nemo's been with us here on the panel. He's in here, and he's like one of the absolute FPV specialists. One of my good friends.
I'm new to all this stuff, man. When I say so new, every time I learn something, guys like, okay, now you got that. Now you need to know this, this, and that.
Right.
And now, I just learned how to play around with my rates to a smart audio, and I have them pretty comfortable. And Explicit FPV, if you know him, he actually contacted me today and was like, "Have you messed with the PIDs?" And I'm like, "Dude, I don't need anything else yet." And he's like, "Well, just go into your PIDs, hook it up, and set it at these numbers, and then just make adjustments in 1 or 2." And I did make the adjustments. Now Friday, I have to wait to go fly because tomorrow it's going to be raining here in New York all day.
Yeah, I've always thought I felt very comfortable with simulators, like getting my rates down in there, and I felt that translates over to the real flying actually pretty well. But the PIDs is, but to be honest with you, the new Betaflight 4.2 with the RPM filter, I think my newer quads, once I've gone to that, I haven't even had to touch the PIDs. They fly great. So they fly better than they've ever flown before. So,
well, my thing is now that I've learned how to fly half decently, and I need to get rid of that. What Herman and I, Phantom Flight, and I called from flying camera drones a carpal tunnel moment. You're cruising, and all of a sudden you get carpal tunnel in the finger.
You get the finger
right.
Right. You know what happens during on orbit or something like that. Then you get that, like with flying. I get into that, and next thing you know, that finger starts doing the stop and just hold the stick and stop it.
Yeah. So, and FPV, I'm finding out you can't have a carpal tunnel moment when you're trying to flip over a branch.
Oh no, no. That'll be a bad day.
I'm getting it. Herman Jackson, RC Aviation says Phantom Flight 101. I like your locations. I'm guessing he's talking about your video locations. And stuff where we fly, where you fly.
Well, mainly there's a lot of them in Brooklyn.
Hey, Bill,
there was a couple.
Go get a refill.
Yeah, sure. I got one of these newfangled Game Fuel energy drinks, and it's got the tutorial. Let's see, pull tab up.
But thank you, man. There was a few of those videos. I was in Jersey actually.
Oh, very cool. I'm glad you got Herman on cameras. Cool.
Yeah.
Do you actually take? Do you have like a digital camera too? What kind of camera do you use to take pictures with, and what do you edit with?
I'm editing with pictures I use Lightroom, and for video I'm just using Filmora 9. Nothing special.
Dude, that's what I've been building all these intros in.
Nothing.
Man.
Yeah, I don't use anything special.
Hey, Corey Mano.
You know?
But did you? Here's the thing. It's kind of crazy. They just put up a new template on Filmora's, parent site where you can get like the downloads and everything. And it's, you're not going to believe it's a new virus template. I'm not kidding.
I gotta check it out.
I'm totally serious. It's new. It's viruses and stuff, man. I actually wait a minute. Maybe I could bring Filmora.
I have to check that out because
I'll share it. I already downloaded it, man. Y'all keep talking about anything drone.
Tried to convert to Adobe Premiere 2019, and it's a great program. I see why the pros use it. But just to do a transition, you have to create your own transition. Then you have to save that transition. So unless you have a bunch of transitions and packs, and another thing with Adobe, you have to buy all this other stuff just to get this program to work. And I do some of my best work in Filmora. In Filmora 9.
Well, Filmora, you can get it and go. I mean, it's simple. And I mean, I'm not doing a 2-hour movie. I'm just doing a little 2-minute video, 3-minute video for YouTube. The longest it might be is maybe 10, 15 minutes.
Did you finally load? Come on.
Talking about video editing software, Power Director is now available on the iOS devices. So if anybody's interested in getting the very simple, easy to use, and does a lot of stuff, video editor for a mobile system, Power Director is really nice. It's if you want to throw something together super quick, it works really well, and it's relatively inexpensive. So.
Well, up until my daughter recently got an iPhone this Christmas, I didn't allow anything in my house with the letter I on it. But my wife and daughter overruled that.
Right.
That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, Power Director has been available for Samsung for Android for a long time. So, but now it's finally available for for iPads and everything now for people. But
DaVinci Resolve, I had heard that's a great program.
Oh yeah, that's probably one of the best.
Jackson, that Filmora, if you listen to how they advertise it, it's like you're getting simplicity, but like a professional feel. But I thought it was pretty good, and I used the one before the version they had before that, so I just switched over. It's a little different, but a lot the same.
Yeah, the good thing about DaVinci, it's a powerful editor, and you can download the free version and use that as long as you want, and it's relatively just as good as the full version. It just doesn't have a couple licenses on there, but for the vast majority of what any of us would use it for, DaVinci Resolve, the free version is going to get you there. And another part of that lets you learn a software without having to pay the big money up front. I know Final Cut, if anybody's got an Apple, Final Cut does have a 30-day free trial if you wanted to try it and see if it worked well for you. But yeah, both of those are good options. I'm not sure if Premiere does or not, but Premiere, the only downside with Premiere, it's a monthly subscription, and you're not getting away from that.
That's like Genius software.
And then with Premiere, you need Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Premiere, Adobe After Effects, Adobe Before Effects, Adobe Cat Effects. Literally what you get.
Right.
And you need a PhD to work it all.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't think any one of them is any better than the other. It's just, what you get familiar with.
Right. You want to know what it is, straight and simple? You make what the hell you got work.
Right. Oh yeah. Anybody that's got most computers come with something these days.
Well, how I used to do it is that I actually had hey Curtis, I had a tablet that had it could take a card reader. I could plug a card reader in, and I used to edit on my tablet with the SD card.
Those I used to call them Grandmaster B.
And I would use the other tablet to watch the cache footage to see what I wanted and where I wanted to edit stuff, and I would cut it on the screen on the other one and add it in and add the music to it, and the software used to cut the music to the video clips that I put in, and I just uploaded them straight to YouTube like that.
Right.
If you knew the horror he went through. I mean, really, he had 2 tablets and was editing like that. And I thought I had it bad. My computer system, before I had this liquid-cooled system built for me, when I was editing, if I wanted to stop it on the splice here, I had to count 1,000, 2,000, 2 seconds before the splice just to get it close.
Oh, my.
Hey, Donato.
I got down pretty good after a while.
No, but it was a nightmare, man.
Oh, see, John DiNardo, Ethan Mitchell saying hi, Chris Hope, Curtis, Michael Blade. Like I said, I'm kind of trying to dabble around. I made a. This is so funny. I'm gonna upload this. So you gentlemen continue. Sorry.
I was gonna ask you how the Skydio is working out, man. How are you liking your Skydio, Bill?
I'm in love. I lust after it constantly. But listen to this. I pulled out the big girl the other day. I hadn't flown her in over a year.
Big girl.
I've been making jokes about how my Phantom 4 Pro was screaming at me from her box. It was like really giving me.
You wasn't imagining that. It was true.
And then I took her out and I ran her through 2 full batteries. But like a dumbass, I started playing with the ISO and screwed up the video and the pictures. I pushed it all the way up to 3,200 in the middle of a sunny day.
Why?
I don't know. I wasn't thinking. I was thinking. Okay,
I get it. You probably the dial on it.
Yeah, I think my finger hit it and accidentally tapped it twice and unlocked it.
Straight from aperture straight up to ISO real quick. Yeah.
And I was just and I looked at it afterwards. I was like, "You idiot! You pushed the ISO up too far."
But you know what?
Yeah. The
camera settings. If you're doing video, right?
Yeah.
You know you got to set it and forget it until you stop the camera.
Yeah, I know, but it was I was, you know how it is. It'd been a year since I played with it, and I've forgotten how good that controller.
Shame on you for first going a year without flying.
You all know how good that controller feels.
Now, if you said your big girl was yelling at you from the box, well, then.
Right,
coming from New York, that's a little different.
I got 3 big girls up here on the show.
Well, now I've got too many drones. My wife would tell you, but let me get this uploaded so you all can see this. But yeah, it's literally, it was so funny. Yeah, go ahead. Like, what do you all think of the remote ID? Are we going to get burned, or are they actually going to listen, or what?
I think we're going to see another iteration.
What's going to happen, honestly, is already dictated. They're just letting us know what they're going to do. You remember before Lance came out, they were saying we're going to set it up so that you don't have to call the airport anymore. And everyone was like, "Boo, wow, they're going to tell us we can't fly here, we can't fly there." Well, Lance is up and running, and now they claim it's a big fail. They claim it's a success. Who knows? Basically, RFID is coming whether you want it or not. If you don't have RFID and you can still broadcast a signal from your drone, you're still considered legal. But if you're flying and you don't have any kind of broadcast, you will be considered rogue.
Well, I always say I don't know what they're gonna do, but I really looked at what they proposed, and I'm listening to some of the things that's being said, and I'm looking at what happened with the cell phone companies, and I'm saying to myself, and I really believe that when they came up with this whole idea with their proposal, they sat there and they looked at it and said, "You know what? No one's going to go for that."
Yeah.
And then they said, "Yes, we know." Because once they get a load of this, what we really want to give them, they'll be glad to have it.
What shocked the hell out of them was They were banking on maybe 8,000 to 10,000 comments, and they got almost 60,000.
Hey, Bill.
Wait a minute, maybe there's money here. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt you, Bill, but this was supposedly breaking news as of 4:15 Pacific time. Adobo, Ken Adobo just posted something regarding to this, so I guess he saw it. I actually read this to Herman. This pertains to all of you. This is on Twitter, okay, from Autel Robotics.
All right, yeah.
And according to Autel Robotics, it says, attention to all our pilots and Autel Robotic fans. It has come to our attention that there are many different online retailers taking pre-orders for the Evo 2 that are claiming shipment and availability of the Evo 2 units, meaning, hey, but get it here. We're going to get it first. On behalf of the Autel Robotics USA, please be aware that our authorized dealers have not received units to ship, and we do not have a confirmed ship date at this time. If you have any questions regarding a pre-order or the legitimacy of a retailer, please feel free to contact us here, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, don't give anybody your money yet.
Now, March.
Maybe I should actually go over there one day instead of just driving by out front holding up the webcam.
Yeah, I think you should go in and just pick one up for me.
I should go in with the Skydio and be like, come on, man, let me talk to somebody.
Right.
Well, they did tweet this, and Ken Adobo just posted something pertaining to this announcement, and I'm guessing it's going to be about this. So for those of you, and keep in mind, it's still March.
Are you calling him Ken Adobo, like Ken Dono?
Yeah.
But you're calling him Adobo?
Yeah.
Okay, but it's kind of, do you know that my wife's Filipino? One of her premier dishes is adobo, man. And you start calling him adobo, and I'm like
that for a while. I'm waiting for him to come on Those Guys and say, that's not my damn name. That's how you get him to come on.
Right.
Well, you could probably just message Ken and say, dude, come on my show, and he'll come on.
No, it's not that simple. It's not that simple. Sometimes, Bill, you have to poke the bear.
Okay, but Ken's actually really cool, dude.
I know he is. I know he is. I know that's Billy's partner in crime. They're two sidekicks that have a lot of fun. We're doing projects together and flying together.
Yeah.
No, that's just my way of getting him to say, dude, that's not my name. It hasn't worked yet.
Oh, that's fair though, and he kind of gets randy though. Have you ever noticed that? You get Ken all wound up, and he goes off full. Both guns come out burning, man.
What's up, Metro?
He even likes putting it on Twitter and letting you know how much He's like, I'm going to try to embarrass you out here. But I mean, I understand what he's saying. He's like, look, dude, if you don't like my stuff, why are you watching?
Exactly.
Why bust my balls when you don't have to watch?
You know what? Every time I put out a video, I look for that one or two dislikes.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't feel normal unless I'm guaranteed one. But if I get two, I know I really got them steaming.
Yeah.
Well, I have several friends personally. I have several friends personally that make it a point to click the thumb.
Yeah, just to give you a hard time.
No, YouTube loves that. YouTube loves that because
new on Filmora yesterday.
Oh, that's what they. Oh, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, and they got like 10 different titles, dude. You see how I changed the titles?
Immediately after this, I'm going to start up my Filmora and download that pack.
Well, yeah, but the thing about it is you got to sign up for that 3-month deal of. You remember how you got to get the templates?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can either do it 1 month or you can do it 3 months. But if you're going to do it for a month, then burn the hell out of it for that month. Because that's what I usually do. I'll get it for 3 months at a time, make a boatload of templates, and then put them somewhere else. Like I'll make transparencies with MOVs and stuff so that I can do.
Excuse me, everyone, but the views and opinions that are heard tonight are not necessarily the views and opinions of everyone on the panel tonight.
Yeah, there we go.
Disclaimer. Over at those guys. I thought I should say that, Bill, while you were talking.
Oh, it's perfectly fine with me, man. I don't mind. I'm not like.
I'm just saying that just so no one incriminates each other or themselves.
So I was going to ask you guys. So what do you guys think will happen to FPV with the remote ID stuff if it goes through as currently outlined?
You want to know what? If you're not doing nothing wrong and you're already building, what's going to stop you from putting a $15 piece inside your bird that transmits? And actually, from what they were saying about the RFID, if you have a Bluetooth device or a wireless device in your bird, that's considered establishing your own network, and that's considered applying with RFID.
Interesting.
Well, I'm not totally against it because it's necessary.
I'm for it.
I'm not in compliance with what they want to do.
Exactly. I'm for the cause, but and a perfect example is Herman and I were flying in Brooklyn one evening. No, what's that during the day? Remember that dude flew over us after we were packed up? We were flying, and had we had RFID, we would have been able to pull out a device such as our cell phone and see that there were other drone pilots in the area. Now, Herman and I were shooting this 5-star hotel here in Brooklyn, trying to get some shots. And after we were both down on the ground and packed up and just BSing around, getting ready to leave, all of a sudden this drone goes at low altitude right over us. Now, had I had RFID, I would have known that there was a drone in the area. And also, if I would not have been able to communicate with him, I would at least knew that there was a guy flying in the area down low, which would have made me fly a lot higher.
Well, see, I don't see any reason for the drone that we use and even for FPV for anything more than broadcast. I mean, I'm not
broadcasting the pilot location.
I'm not flying. I didn't hear you.
How do you feel about them broadcasting the pilot's location to public?
They clarified that.
I don't really think that that's necessary for the public. I don't think that's necessary at all for the public.
Agreed.
When it comes to drone to phone with like DJI was doing, I understand what they're doing. I don't think that the way the government proposes it, the FAA proposes it, I don't think it's necessary to
identify
for you to continue the mass hysteria that you've continued to promote for the last 3 years since I've been flying. I think that the FAA helps perpetuate it by not doing anything to stop it.
Right.
I agree.
When a trained professional comes out of his mouth and says something, and it sounds stupid to the guy who's not a trained professional, I wonder what the hell the other trained professionals are listening to. Because if a pilot can tell you flying at 200-300 miles an hour,
I'm not crazy. It was an excuse. I don't get to get him this big.
We got Halloween again. 200 miles an hour.
I said, baby, I can't go back to the store for 2 months. I gotta get the big bag.
But Chris, in answer to your question, right now Canada is initializing the new UTM. It's their new way they're going to fly. It's a RFID system that is allowing them to identify the drone altitude and course without revealing where the actual pilot is, and it's just making you aware of what's in the air. Now, this system that Canada's using has already been proven and used in Germany as well as other places in Europe. The reason that, and we talked about this on those guys on one of our streams, either Herman or mine, but we talked about how The reason the FAA doesn't want to go with this particular RFID system that was created in Germany that other countries are already initializing and using is because they can't charge for it. We already know Air Map, UAV Forecast, all of these apps that we use before you fly plan on charging us a monthly fee. Okay, and that's why they don't want that system here in the United States, because they can't charge and make money for it. And I'm going to be blunt and honest with it. What's up, Hadley's FPV? How are you, my dude?
Hadley.
So, and if you're a DJI drone pilot, you already know that all DJI drones transmit their location and information. So if Germany can come up with a system that already uses this existing technology, why do they need to know where the pilot is? And in fact, they revised what they were saying they were trying to do by saying the only ones that will have access through this phone to drone app on where a pilot is would be law enforcement.
Well,
and it would take. Yeah, go ahead, Herman.
You're talking about Unifly.
Yeah.
You know, that's already been said. I think that's a done deal. Unifly is going to be in Canada, you know, and they're going to control the airspace there for drones. They're going to create the traffic there for drones. They're also supposed to be testing this summer a drone delivery system in what they say in Alberta, Canada, this summer. So you know, I listened to the podcast with the gentleman from Unifly, and you know, remote ID is coming regardless of what we think, and the reason why they want
like it or not,
to create air traffic control, as you might say, for drones, because that day is coming, and whether we want to believe it or not, it's coming. And UPS and NetNet, they're already doing work already in a small contained area. They're just trying to open this up, and they need to be able to control that traffic so that nothing's running into each other. I just, like I said, what we do for, you know, what we fly and where we fly and how we fly, even for the guys who are 107. I mean, you're not shooting up in the skies like that. You're not flying like 40 miles to get your shots for any movies or anything like that. I mean,
right, everything's local.
You know,
that's why I'm not really a big fan of like the tier one like outline thing, because that is, you can see the way that's designed. That's designed for beyond line of sight missions, you know.
Exactly.
And there's nothing that I do that would even warrant me doing that. And then your next step down is like you're limited to 400 feet, you know, radius. That's just crazy. That's not far enough to do any kind of film work. So there's there's a disconnect in between there, and they really need to fix that. The Lance system worked great for us.
I'm cool.
Yep, the Lance system I thought works great. So they could have incorporated that or advanced that somehow, and it would have been fine.
Well, first, hello, Ron. And sorry.
Yes.
But every now and then,
it's a great conversation. I wouldn't want to interrupt. You guys are really speaking the truth up there, and people need to hear this.
Well, right there it is. It's that simple, folks. It takes all of about 30 seconds.
Let me explain something to you FPV pilots out there, which I'm new to FPV, and you camera drone pilots out there. Before they start doing these drone deliveries, they're going to have us under control. You know why? Because they'll be passing through our airspace and we will be passing through theirs. Just like air traffic control has their controlled airspace, drones will have to control their space. Delivery drones will have to control their space. And in order for all of it to work, you got to start at the top and the bottom, and then you fill in the middle. And this is the direction where they're headed, plain and simple. I am 100% for RFID. I'm just not for all of the cores.
Well, you see what Chris is saying, that's true. And you know what? They said that years ago, and so what was done with the information that you've gathered from all this time? You know where people are flying. You know where. Come on, you know the hot spots. The people.
A perfect example when they were taking data here in New York City, the 5 boroughs, southern part of New York, Manhattan, Brooklyn, Staten Island, whatever. When they were collecting data on us, we knew this. Why? Because there would be a group of us, 5 or 6 of us flying, and a police helicopter would come and hover a quarter of a mile to a mile away, which means they were collecting data. After a while, it got to the point where a police helicopter would come if Herman and I were flying, and they would hover for anywhere from a minute to a few seconds and then take off and go off to the next spot. You know why? Because they already had our data. They're doing the same thing with RFID. They know where all the hot spots are. They know where most of the rogue pilots are. If you conform, resistance is futile. They said it in the Borg on Star Trek. If you're going to fly, you must comply.
Ron,
sure.
Right, but
Put that on.
we could have easily incorporated this into the LANT system, though.
Hi, Ron. Glad to have you. Wanted to acknowledge that you were here because everybody in the chat keeps noticing that you're here. So, how you doing tonight, Ron? Did you get any good draft picks?
I sure did. I got Josh Donaldson in the first round in a keeper league, so I did real good. But now I'm ready to talk drones, and you guys have a great conversation going on tonight. I want to say hello to everybody in chat. Thanks for all the warm welcomes in. I'm under one of my aliases tonight, Xeno Nation, to chat, just because I forget to switch back and forth. But I want you guys to continue on with this great conversation, and I'm going to sit back and hope I can add something to the conversation.
All I'm going to say is I'm not going to call out everybody's name that comes in new. I'm going to try to highlight your names in the chat so that we don't slow down the chat anymore for our first and hopefully one of many drone tables. Back to you, gentlemen.
Well, to add with the remote ID, I mean, I think they could have easily built upon the LANT system. Like if you've got a drone delivery person like UPS that's gonna, say you want to go fly somewhere and you request the LANT's approval. If there was already a planned mission from UPS that's going to come in your area, it could have let you know, hey, you're not approved from this time to this time, or it could have rerouted the UPS drone around you. You know what I mean? But the way they got it set up now is like it makes it more challenging than I think it needs to be.
Yes and no. I mean, this is just me personally thinking. You're going to know right away wherever the drone highways are. You're not going to be able to fly anyway. Well, living here in New York, my nephew lives in Utica, New York, which is about 300 miles from the Canadian border. It's a 5-hour drive from my house. Make a long story short, from Rome, New York to Utica, New York, for the last year and a half to 2 years, they've been testing a drone highway. All right. And while this drone highway has been up, they take all commercial airspace and non-commercial. Well, non-commercial is probably military or police, but mostly commercial aircraft. You cannot fly in this corridor. It's a 50-mile corridor. And they were, at times, my nephew would say, you would see drones flying in this direction, drones flying in this direction, because they're testing that particular highway and corridor. Well, it's coming. What's that, Herman?
Well, what that corridor actually was for, and it goes back to the symposium from last year.
Yeah.
It was
need to watch one this year.
It was used to test, see, and avoid.
Right.
Because that was their biggest interest last year, because that's what they were saying. Before delivery drones and these things can take off, before that can actually happen, cameras have to be better than what they are. You see what you got with the Skydio? Good drone, great drone for a consumer, not good enough for what they want to do.
Right. Even though it avoids everything out there, including a 1/4-inch cable.
Yeah, but that's see and avoid. If you look at a lot of people have had problems with that thing. I've seen a couple of people have crashed. It does some freaky things at times. And until like right now, like I said, Matternet Zipline is doing all kind of crazy things, but have where zipline is their main function. I don't think they have the infrastructure that we have here in the States.
Yeah, for those of you who are not familiar with Zipline, it's a drone company that delivers medical supplies to places in Africa that they have no road in. For example, I can launch a Zipline drone and fly 6-7 miles to the next town, drop off the medicine, and if someone had to drive there, it would take days.
Right.
Yeah, they have these wings. The wing.
Yeah, they use a catapult. It's a fixed wing bird. I think I have it somewhere bookmarked, but I actually did bookmark it. Medical delivery. Just let me pull this up real quick.
But yeah, Matternet, like I was saying before, is like one of the few that's
wrong one.
Got a system right now that's in use here in the States. You know, it's actually the first drone airline that was able to get, but it's still in a controlled area.
Okay, I found it.
Once these things expand, like, see and avoid was their biggest issue, and they said that these cameras that are used for sensors, has to get better before this thing could take off.
Hey, Bill, you mind if I share a screen for a second? I want you guys to see what they've been using for at least a minimum of 3 to 6 months in Africa. This called Zipline.
Actually, it's been going on for about a year or so now, more.
Oh, okay. See, I was being mild about it. Okay. Share audio. No, I just want to share the entire screen. This is my first time doing this, so bear with me. But can you guys see this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is Zipline. Hold on. See if I can bring it up and hit play. But no, it won't work that way. This is Zipline, and that's how they launch their drones to deliver blood samples, etc. So it is now. How do you stop sharing? Okay. Zipline and a lot of other companies, drone companies, they're making deliveries out there already. And as Herman says, for a year, I was being modest because I didn't want to give the wrong information by giving 3 to 6 months. But companies like that down in Virginia or the Carolinas, they're doing deliveries of body organs already via drone.
Yeah, that's Matternet. They also have hooked up with what is it? Like I said, they got that thing with UPS, and they're also with CVS, and I don't know if Rite Aid has joined in on it, but everybody's getting involved. And there is small
dollar signs,
locations.
that's for sure.
Right.
Yeah, of course, definitely.
And if you look at now Matternet, right? Let's show you how far they've predicted this thing is going to go.
Ethan,
they have a launch pad for it that it opens up like a clamshell, and the drone comes out of the top. You actually put the sample into it, and it loads into this thing. And they say it could be put on the rooftop or on the ground for them to do this. Who knows?
Ethan.
All of this relates to RFID.
They also have if you're using their system, they have a maintenance plan and everything for you.
Have you flown on the West Coast yet, Ethan?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I'm surrounded by no-fly zones, though. I thought Baltimore was bad. This is worse.
Where are you?
We're in Palo Alto, California, like in the San Francisco Bay area.
Oh.
I was going to try to hook up with him and Steve Carpenter and maybe Rick Halber. We were actually going to have but then all this went on and kind of.
Oh yeah, they're on like lockdown now. Like even if they see you like driving around, the police can pull you over and see what you're doing and ask you to go home. So
what's killing me is I've had this continued issue with like the neighborhood kids tend to like put a portable basketball goal in front of my house and use my house as like a backstop. But Well, the thing about this has been going on for over a year, man. And now we've got the whole cul-de-sac as a no parking zone. And now they've just decided, okay, that means now it's a playground. So they're moving in more equipment, more kids.
You
And
know
I'm
what,
like,
Bill?
what?
It's funny you mention that because I was talking to Herman today, and I live where I live on the opposite block behind me is a public school, and the playground had a handful of people on it, but something I haven't seen in many, many years was children playing in their own yards.
No, these kids aren't playing in their own yards. They can easily put this goal in their own yard.
Well, I tried.
You're gonna play in front of my house. But the thing about it is what I'm trying to get through to you. I run an adult family home.
Oh,
We
wow.
don't have anybody like that near us.
Oh,
And
yeah.
well, what if I lose my basketball? And I'm like, dude, we've been advised by the state to not even let their family here.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, please go away.
Do they move it at? Or do they move it, or they leave it there? It's there now.
And there's no kids.
That means you could go outside and trash it.
No, I wouldn't do that. No, I'm not like that. But I'm just saying the whole point is if you can't park a car, you can't park a trailer, you can't park a camper, you can't park a basketball goal in a throwaway zone.
Just move it.
It's back in 15 minutes.
You know why? Because you haven't moved it and chained it to an object.
The whole point is we can't get them to. Well, the thing about it, the kids, it's like their grandmothers.
Hey, Ron, I see you. Ron, I've seen you get some really nice footage out where you're at. Past few days.
Thank you, Ethan. We went down to watching.
Ron, hey Ron, how does the Skydio stack up next to the image quality? How does it stack up to the Mavic 2?
It looks like a Mavic Pro.
I don't know, as far as it doesn't have a log profile. So as far as taking the final cut and doing all the things you love to do, it maybe is not there. But for somebody that just wants to get the video off their memory card and get it on their computer and post it online on the social networks, it coming off the memory card, it looks as good as the Mavic 2 Pro or better without any touch up on it. It's like it's almost like a GoPro. I'd say it's a little bit better than GoPro right off the the memory card.
Quick question, Ron. Before Ron, I don't know much about it, but is it full auto, or does it have some kind of manual features in the settings?
Yes, it
has manual features.
Yeah, it has your exposure, your white balance, contrast. Not anywhere is as full feature as a DJI drone, but it does have HDR in it. And if you hit the HDR button on it, you can't change any of the other settings. But I'll tell you the truth, it doesn't need a whole lot of tweaking in the settings. If you just hit auto, most of the time it looks great. And unlike a lot of drones, you could turn that thing around and face it towards the sun. I think it has 7 stops of dynamic range, and it handles the bright sunsets very well without any fiddling with the controls. And I don't even have ND filters for it yet, or polarizers, any filters yet.
Are there presets as well?
I'm sorry.
Are there presets as well?
Presets.
Presets like
You can program
mode. Yeah.
It has orbit. It has a few standard modes like that. Again, certainly not anywhere as close to DJI. But I'll tell you what it does better. It does. I don't want to say it's better a tracker and follower than the Mavic 2 series from DJI. But what it does is, if you want to track with DJI, you have to punch down a couple levels down to get to it. On the Skydio,
I
if
understand.
somebody walks by or drives by you, it just pops right up screen. Do you want to track him? You look a little button, and you're tracking within seconds. You don't have to fiddle down 3 menus down to get your tracking going. You don't have to draw the box.
Well, see, this is a problem that I have with a lot of drone reviewers, and I'm going to say our disclaimer that we use on our live stream. The views and opinions that are heard tonight are not necessarily the views and opinions of everyone on the panel tonight. And I have to say this. Stop comparing freaking oranges with lemons. There's no way in hell you can compare the Skydio 2 with any type of Phantom because they're two different birds of a feather. Plain and simple. It's like trying. Hey, John. It's like trying to compare an FPV bird to a DJI bird to a Skydio 2. I mean, and so many reviewers, and I wish reviewers would stop doing that. Compare the Mavic 2 Pro to whatever you get my point.
Yeah, let me stop you right there. And the reason we do that is not because we want to, but when anybody asks you about the Skydio, they want you to compare it to the Mavic 2 Pro. That's seasoned drone pilots. That's inquisitive people that want to get drones. Everybody goes right to that final question. So that's why I think some people do it in reviews because that's what everybody keeps asking you.
But Ron,
I get why they do it.
But Herman, you got to realize the reason that they're comparing the Mavic 2 Pro is because of the APAS system. Right now, there are only 2 drones out there that have true obstacle avoidance: the Skydio 2 and the Mavic 2 series, which has APAS. Now, APAS, we know the processing speed isn't as fast as the Skydio 2. Therefore, it doesn't respond as fast and it doesn't see as much.
Well, you see, that in some of the reviews, even in the avoidance of an object, the DJI drone is still more of a cinematic movement.
Agreed.
As opposed to the herky jerkiness that I've seen in the Skydio.
Whereas the Skydio is a flying action camera.
Right.
But
and I'm going to interject here because I don't think so. I think it has a cinematic point of view that no other drone has. It's just not been exploited yet. I still think that it's going to take a firmware update or two. I'm not going to deny.
I believe you, and
I
agree with you on that.
Load of work. The beacon scares the hell out of me.
I think that's a drone in progress. I said this once before. I think it's going to revolutionize how drones are made.
Yeah.
Let me ask.
I agree with that.
Let me ask a conversation about the herky jerky movements. The herky jerky movements and following you. Once you've done it a couple times as the person that's being tracked, if you learn not to walk in a way that's going to make it, like if you don't make abrupt turns and stuff like that to force it to do those movements, it won't. It doesn't take long for you to learn how to walk to prevent it from doing the herky jerky motions you see in most of the reviews so far. That could easily be avoided by just walking, setting how you want to follow you, and
I agree
against that pattern.
I agree with you, Ron, because John Cuppi will concur with me on this. It's like flying FPV. I'm new to FPV, right? So right now I'm learning when you fly, you plot a course and you go through that course 2 or 3 times until you get it right. And that's exactly the same thing with the Skydio 2. If you go out there and say, hey, I'm going to run over here. I'm going to run over here. It looks messed up. And you get that herky-jerky movement. But if you plot your course and you plan everything, then it's a lot smoother.
Yeah, agreed.
And that's the same thing with the DJI birds as well. DJI birds fly forwards and backwards, just like the Skydio, but they're 2 different birds. One is a camera drone, one is an action drone. That's like trying to compare the GoPro camera to a Phantom 4 Pro camera. You can't.
Right.
And I wish people would stop doing that. Seriously. I mean, not on that level, but when you see these reviews, you know, they're constantly comparing something to the Mavic 2. They're constantly comparing something to the Skydio 2. They're constantly comparing something to the Mavic Pro.
Right. And again, now I'm not saying it's right, but John can tell you this too, probably. When you do a comparison video on YouTube between 2 drones, it gets higher views and thumbs up and all that stuff that if you don't do a comparison video.
Because of the wording. All YouTube is about... What's that, John?
I was going to say it's the wording, and people just want to see it for whatever reason. They want to see it. They just do. So that's why it's done.
John,
it's clickbait.
John, we could do a video. We compare the SEMA X5 to the Mavic 2 Pro, and that video would be the best. Your most popular video.
Probably SEMA X5 versus Mavic Mini. Now that'll get some views.
Ron Singer over at TDR Drone. Joke video, remember? He compared the Mavic Mini to what was it? A
hard-boiled egg.
A hard-boiled egg.
He got like what 2,000 views or something?
Yep.
Or I mean, come on, it's
Yeah,
or versus something versus something, you know?
Yeah, but you know,
reminds me of these.
I don't know. I don't mind. I don't mind the comparisons. I don't think that they're bad or anything. I think if people want to see it, let them watch it. It's really not hurting anything.
Did he say it again?
And me personally, I'm more of a video quality person, so I want to see the comparisons between the cameras, you know, and just like some of these camera YouTubers, they'll like do a comparison between an Arri Alexa, you know, you're talking $50,000 cinema camera versus a $1,200 cell phone. I just think it's but it's surprising how well it looks, you know. But the camera quality is my biggest thing. So.
Yeah,
the camera quality on this, it does remind me of like the Evo. The Evo.
Yeah.
I can agree. It just really upsets me when you take someone that tries, and like you said, Ethan, you're into the camera look of it, and you know as well as I do, you cannot compare a 1/2-inch sensor to a 1-inch sensor.
Right. Yeah, it's hard.
You can't compare a Volkswagen to a Porsche, even though they both have the same engine.
Okay, I have a question. For you.
Go ahead, Bill.
You're a famous photographer, right? Every famous photographer is not going to shoot every single picture he takes with one camera. Yet, every picture that photographer takes is going to be compared to every other picture he publishes, regardless of what camera he took it with. But that photographer will have multiple cameras because he wants to use his eye to take a different outlook on whatever he's seeing.
You know what that is, Bill? It's called OCD.
And a lot of times, cameras are still the same family.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I really
about
forward to. Go ahead, Ron.
Big fun.
I was gonna say about the 1-inch sensor versus the 1/2-inch sensor. I relate that to the real camera world. I was an amateur photographer in real cameras before I ever got into drones. And at one point in my life, I shot with a full frame sensor. I thought I needed this full frame sensor. I had to get the best quality I could. A full frame Nikon, but I in the years of past, I've switched to micro 3/4 on Olympus. And for the kind of photography I do, maybe once or twice a year do I say to myself, "Oh, I wish I had that, that full frame sensor, whatever."
That's good, John.
You don't always need the best quality camera that you could possibly buy to get the photography you want. I mean, if I was shooting billboard photography, yes, I would need the full frame, a 42 megapixel sensor, whatever. But when you're just posting mostly stuff online or whatever, some of these camera options are, too advanced. Not everybody needs a 1-inch sensor on their drone. Not everybody is shooting that type of video. People that have a kind of a casual YouTube channel, post to their Facebook group, the 1-inch sensor may be a little overkill for some of these people. So basically what I'm saying is, you want to get the drone and the camera quality that fit the kind of work you do, and not just, you don't have to get the best of everything to accomplish what you set out to do.
I agree with you 1,000%. And the perfect example is, I remember when I got my Phantom 4 Standard. When I got my Phantom 4 Standard, everybody was flying the Phantom 4 Pro and the Mavic Pro and all of that. And you want to know what? I could show you some pictures that I've taken with my Phantom 4 Standard, where guys had the Phantom 4 Pro and other drones, and you could not tell the difference in quality. It's about making what you have work and learning how to use what you have. Plain and simple.
Well said.
Random Hodges, that no, it's not. But if you really understand how the 8K is used, it's not for just to hang out as a hobbyist and fly and take some pictures and a little bit of video. It's actually already being done. 8K is already being used for certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And if you understand exactly how and why, that's who that's for. It's not for the average guy that's going to be out there just flying and doing some videos.
I have a question.
Yep.
Are Julio and John related?
No, they come from our live stream.
No, I know that, but I just know they're both named because John's Big John, but I know it's Santiago, and I know Julio is Santiago.
Right, it is John Santiago. No, they're not related. One lives in the Bronx and one lives in Brooklyn. We got the East Coast representing here, and we appreciate you guys for supporting us. We have everyone from the East Coast to the West Coast representing, and we appreciate you all.
And this is our first, hopefully, of many drone tables, which is basically just a gathering of the minds to talk about things that we think need improvement in the drone community, whether it be an update to a model or a drone or software, and I can see John has something. John Cuppi.
I want to show you guys this while we're all talking about the Mavic. So my Mavic Pro item drop system finally arrived today. Check this thing out.
Okay.
So I guess
wow.
the way this works is it's going to clip onto my Mavic Pro. You got your little servo there. And I guess this will release and it'll drop whatever I got. There's a little battery on board. And the way the release mechanism works is, you see this? This piece is going to clip onto one of the arms, and it's going to use the lights. Here, check this out. See how they have you in the instructions to use one of the LEDs? I don't know if you could read that. But the LED blinking on and off is what controls the release mechanism.
Okay.
I can't wait to try this. It should be pretty cool. Maybe deliver some TP with it or something.
Maybe you do a job with Amazon delivering products.
Yeah, start your own service.
Amazon delivering.
Yeah. I gotta get my Part 107 now so I can start delivering. But yeah, I just thought that was a cool little device here. I can't wait to try it.
John Cuppi, can I give you some advice?
Yeah.
Get your 107, dude, because it will come to a time and point in the United States where, and this is once again the views and opinions that are heard tonight are not necessarily the views and opinions of everyone on the panel, but it may come to a time and point where you won't be able to fly unless you're a 107 pilot. And if you want to fly as a hobbyist, you may have to fly with a ball and chain to your ankle. And that's all I'm going to say.
Or especially when you got a drone on your drone.
What happened?
Or especially when you got a drone drop on your drone and we're worrying about
No, they have a warning that they do warn you in the instructions.
Stay away from prisons and
they ask you to please use the thrower in a safe fashion, because if you have to please, people will be.
John, stay from flying
away from prisons.
Stay away from prisons in the wall.
Yeah, no. Yeah, please check. Please use the thrower in a safe, open, and non-interfering situation.
Or not around prisons.
Yeah, prisons.
He's flying a DJI drone that'll keep him away from prisons.
Right.
Yeah, it will actually. Right on.
Yeah, it will. It will let you fly over the prison.
Yeah.
Isn't there also a disclaimer on there that says "Do not exceed recommended weight for clickbait YouTube video"?
Right.
Well, that's kind of cool. How much did it cost, or did you get it for sponsorship? Or
So this was sent for review. The whole kit is $25.
That's not bad.
Not bad at
Our
all.
friends over at Good.
What is the maximum?
I'll be right back.
Yeah, it's good.
How many?
I mean, look, if it works for real and it's not finicky and it actually does drop stuff, this is probably the most clean drop system that I've seen for Mavic Pro. I also think that's a pretty cool idea to use on and off. What?
I want you to make a toilet paper run.
Donnie, I'm gonna need a lot more battery power to get to California, dude. I'm gonna need a lot more battery power. If I had it, I'd do it.
You'll do the battery mod.
What?
You have to do the battery mod.
Oh yeah, to do the battery mod. John, hey, what's going on? Yeah, I mean, I thought that was a pretty smart thing because at first when I saw it, I'm like, oh, it must have like a remote trigger, and I guess I'll be limited by the range of the remote trigger. That's a pretty cool idea to use the light status to control the drop mechanism. That way, no matter where you are, however far you want to fly, you're not going to be limited. It'll let it drop.
So I mean,
pretty intelligently designed.
How does that work though with the light? I mean,
all right. So this is what they say to do. They say to set the C1 button on the controller as for turn on and off the LEDs.
Okay.
And that's what controls the servo. So I guess when the lights are on or off, rather, I don't know which way it works here.
Okay, so when the lights come on,
to release the item, turn them off to close it.
That's strange because the reason why I asked that is because I've always set up my drones that once I'm videoing or taking a picture, those lights go off.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I guess there must be a way to set it.
No, I know there is a way to set the two buttons to do whatever you wanted to do.
Yep.
I would just think that you might want a video watching the thing drop.
Yeah, and I don't know how I would get it.
Want to have the light off.
Yeah. Well, I guess I would. I guess I would be able to record it with my phone cache, right? I'd have that option. I just won't get it in high quality. But
what is this, man? It's like this could be the first delivery, man. What was the first drone? What was the first item delivered by drone delivery? Toilet paper.
In all honesty, I'm thinking of doing that as a little thing because my neighbor, he's like right there, so I wouldn't even have to fly over anybody's house or anything. I just go to the right, and drop him some TP. One video to
do. Somebody's house. What's
might be a nice video?
Toilet paper fell.
What?
Yeah, that'd be a good video.
If the toilet paper fell, then I guess it wouldn't harm anything.
Right, you couldn't break a window.
Hold on, hey John, you would be my all-time hero if you helped me prove this theory. What happens if toilet paper hits you in the face from 100 feet in the air?
Oh man!
Do your disclaimer again.
The views and opinions that are heard tonight are not necessarily the views and opinions of everyone on the panel tonight, and or in the audience in the chat.
And the neighbor's standing there with the whole roll of toilet paper, holding his bloody nose.
Okay, Ethan. Glad to put a name with the face.
I'm gonna have to give him a call and see what we could do. He's older. He's like 65, so he's currently.
I'm not trying to kill somebody, man.
Hey, I saw
not a teenager, not a 65-year-old.
It was fantastic to have Ethan back tonight, but he's got to bail because they've already told him he's exceeded his Wi-Fi minutes for the month. Oh my God!
Oh wow!
Yeah, that's the hotel Wi-Fi.
Necessarily. No, but
put
yeah,
another quarter in the meter.
Yeah, right. It's
Ethan, it's fun to put a name with the face.
Potato, it's good to see you.
Nice
priority.
So, but it's great to be back with you guys and chat with everybody. It's great to see everybody in the chat. And Stingray Aerial Solutions, no, they're not limited to the TP yet, but that could possibly happen. It's very, very creepy down here. It's a weird feeling. It's gotta go, but it's great to see everybody tonight. Great to be back, and you guys have a great night.
You safe, Ethan.
You too, man.
See you guys.
Have a great evening.
All right, cool. So that's what was so cool because he popped in like a second or two after when we really had West Coast and East Coast. So it was super cool. Ron got some good picks in the draft. John got in. We've actually had some very, very good. What else y'all want to talk about? Man, I'm cool. Let's go. What else? Ron, do you turn into a pumpkin in 15 minutes? Or are you cool?
I'm good. I can hang in.
All right, cool. So we're ready to rock, man.
I would actually like to hear what do you do, Ron? Do you do camera drone footage? This is my first time meeting you, so I'm always.
I see you got the cooler in the background over there.
Well, I'm at a I'm as East Coast as you guys are. I'm about maybe 2 football fields away from the Atlantic Ocean here at the Jersey Shore on the little Bear Island, Margate, New Jersey.
Okay, okay.
2 towns south of Atlantic City. You guys know AC,
all right?
Yeah. So I'm as East Coast as you guys, probably.
But that's a good thing. If we decide to have an East Coast meetup, if we decide to have a meetup at Atlantic City, which I'm trying to choreograph for the end of the summer, you're in the area.
Oh, I'm there in just a couple of minutes. I'm a short drive.
I went to Atlantic City and we had free open space to fly, no one to bother us.
Yeah,
I don't act the fool.
Most of Atlantic City is Class G. Now, if you get to the west side of the island, you can get into the airport space a little bit, but most of the islands, Class G.
Yeah. We stayed away from. You could see where restricted airspace was, and as long as you were outside that bubble, you were good.
You're easy to find spots.
And you restricted airspace, Ron, in Margate?
It's all Class G in Margate too. Most of the Jersey Shore is at least low shore is good for flying. It's only a couple pockets here and there.
It is good. Mm-hmm. It is good, Ron. But what was scary was Herman and I were shooting the lighthouse.
I know the lighthouse.
City, and over the hotels in the distance, you see this low-flying helicopter. And when I say low-flying, it looked like he was coming in to rescue someone who was drowning at the beach or something. Yeah. The way he was coming in, but he flew over the hotels low, like it was a tourist copter, and then came around and went out over the water. And I never understood what that flight was about, but it scared the hell out of me because had Herman and I been in that area, we would have been like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah, you're correct. There are a lot of low-flying helicopters around here. A lot of them are Coast Guard, but not all of them. And you're right. They you have to keep your head on a swivel here, or your ears, ready to hear that activity. But
coming from New York City, we're used to I can hear a helicopter coming from a good distance away. Especially when you fly a drone.
Honestly, I swear to you, this is what happens here. If you're out flying, these helicopters that do tours, I'm almost positive that they say to the people, you want to see some guys flying drones?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes, because we fly that often.
Because the helicopters leave and they come back. And they leave and they come back. And I'm like, what?
If we're having a meetup, if we're flying the southern tip of Manhattan, which has a no-fly zone around it, but you can fly out over the water and get shots of Manhattan. We've seen helicopters dive down towards us at our altitude. We've seen helicopters stop and hover. But out of all the drone flyers here in New York City, I can say one thing for sure. If we didn't know what the hell we were doing, there would have been plenty of accidents to report. And urban flying is completely different from, and I don't suggest it, I don't condone it unless you've been flying for a while. I teach people how to fly. I teach people how not to fly also. And one of them, see that?
That's southern
right
tip
there.
of Manhattan, wide open.
Yeah. That tip of Manhattan is wide open, but from the southern tip, where the water is at the very bottom there, even though it doesn't say you can't fly there, it's still a no-fly zone. The New York Stock Exchange is there. The financial district is there, and it's not easy to fly around the city, but I probably would crash into a cactus if I was out in the open.
Well, I'm showing you right now what Lance is saying about that area on takeoff.
Oh, wow.
That's what Lance is saying I can do from right outside the Freedom Tower.
Yes. Right outside the tallest building in the Western Hemisphere. Yes, they're saying he could take off.
Oh boy!
But as soon as he powered up his drone and the prop said, he'd probably get tased in the back by a cop.
Have you submitted it for clearance though to see if it would actually?
No, before you fly, says you can take off
from here and setting it up right now to do it. It would normally. Okay, watch this.
I believe you, man. I'm just like, wow.
Let me put it over here, right? If I put the marker here.
John is also an urban flyer. He flies a lot in the city as well.
Watch. I'll put the marker over here. Now this is also Manhattan.
Can you pin his picture? Can you pin his picture so everybody can see this?
You see what it did? It put it right. Now that's in, halfway out of that.
Right. The blue line is Lance, and that circle is Trump Tower.
Well, no, the Trump Tower is inside that inside the blue area, further into Manhattan. But that blue circle, is the no-fly in Manhattan. So you see what it says to me there, no fly. But if I come downtown to where the Freedom Tower is,
there's no problem whatsoever. And keep in mind, there are places in Lance that say there's a zero ceiling, but Lance will allow you to take off.
Wow. I don't think I've ever flown in an urban environment.
You know what, Ron? Same here. I mean, and I've been to the city a ton of times. You know, I lived in New Jersey until last year, so I've never had to fly around there. I mean, where Herman's showing right now, I think that's by where the ferries are, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. That's
down by Pier 84 and all that, West 39 Ferry Terminal and all that crap.
You can take it down, Bill. I don't think
as long as you're not in what do you call it there, Battery Park City, down by the
financial district,
behind the area here where they have, basically the financial district. That's the only way you're going to get national park status.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but down, like you say, where the ferries are, we've flown from there's an island between Staten Island and Manhattan called Governor's Island. Up until the beginning of last year, before that, you used to be able to fly there. Now, to show you how close the Statue of Liberty is, a Phantom 4 Standard could almost reach it.
Wow.
Not a Phantom 4 Standard, sorry, the Phantom 3 Standard.
Okay.
With Wi-Fi tech, could almost reach it.
Oh, wow.
Okay, that's how close this island is. And up until the beginning of last year, they stopped all drone flights from there because of the fact that too many people were taking their drones over to the island and getting shots of the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
Now they Governor's Island.
Oh.
Yeah, before they shut it down. Now there are parts in Brooklyn where you can fly, like Cool Bick, who comes on our live stream. He works within flying. The Statue of Liberty is facing his office.
Yeah, I flew from Governor's Island with the P3 Standard over to the statue.
Yeah, but now they have white buoys circling the Statue of Liberty that are 250 to 300 feet away from the shore. Now, supposedly, and I'm not going to quote what was rumored, but supposedly you're not supposed to pass these white buoys because the Statue of Liberty is a national landmark and you would be violating a no-fly zone. Yeah, see, from Valentino Pier to Statue of Liberty, right in front of her is 8,800 feet.
Yeah, but the island is right over her shoulder.
Right.
There.
Governor's Island is right there.
Yeah. John just opens his apartment door and flies right out the front.
I think that they really made a mistake with that one. They didn't think that one over when they allowed everyone to do it, because I got them on the internet and they said, oh yeah, they allowed drone flying. You just can't fly over the monument section of the island. And we stormed that island one day, man. How many of us was it, Lawrence?
More than enough. That day, we actually had a runway where drones were taking off and drones were coming in this way, and they were signaling, you can land now. And it looked like an aircraft carrier, because we had that many people flying and waiting to fly to, and if actually one of those days, we actually lost a Phantom 3 Pro or Phantom 3 Standard, something like that.
Standard.
So whoever is updated can't get close no more than
He's saying they geofenced it. Back here, he was saying that they geofenced it. Now you can't get that close now.
Yes.
I believe they geofenced the St. Louis Arch too. I think basically because you're not allowed to fly that anymore either, which is kind of sad because you know what? The St. Louis airport closes down, so you've got a good period of time, even into the early morning hours there, where you've got some light that you could be flying in Class G basically because the airport's closed and get that arch, but they don't want anyone flying by that arch anymore. They shut that down.
What time does it close?
Huh?
What time does the St. Louis airport close?
Usually around like 2 a.m. and then it doesn't seem to open until like I want to say like 5:45. It seems.
Because I used to fly in there from here in New York to catch a god awful flight to Quincy, Illinois.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I used to, say my prayers and hold on tight.
Yeah, it's definitely not the best. I typically fly out of Newark. Yeah, that's
no, I'm just saying when I got to St. Louis and they told me, they told me the first time I went there that I had to stay in a hotel overnight because my flight to Quincy, they can't fly in this weather. I'm like, oh, well, what's wrong with it? They said, well, the thunderstorms. I'm like, well, the plane I was just in landed and it's going to take off and go someplace else. Why can't? They said, well, your flight, they can't take off. When I got there the next morning, it was some little propeller joint that they were flying me on. And I was like, oh, you can't fly even in sun.
Some little crank and spin. Crank and spin.
Oh, wow. That's ridiculous.
It had an engine on that side and an engine on that side, and they both had propellers on it.
See, that's when I become Mr. T, and you're going to knock me the hell out to get on that plane. If it doesn't have a minimum of 2 large turbine engines, just like if it's a boat and it doesn't have many smaller lifeboats, I'm not getting on it.
Well, you're talking about like a ship.
Yeah. It's like now they're petri dishes, so that chance is over with.
John, you were busy earlier. You didn't get to see the new Filmora template, did you?
No, I didn't.
Oh yeah, I think it's hot.
Yeah, and there's like 10 different ones, man, and they all got this really
different one. Just a different one, man. Come on.
Yeah,
I didn't make a different one.
Sorry about that.
I have to like do it, and then go ahead. Y'all start talking. I'll make another one.
Okay.
I can do it that quick.
Yeah. So, anyway, I was gonna say, you guys are pretty badass for flying around the city. Not only to have the balls to do that, but also to not just do it willy nilly. You guys are trying obviously really hard to still fly around there and get great footage and still stay within all the rules.
But you know what it is? We highly appreciate that, seriously. But you know what it is? If you know what you're doing and you have radio communication, that's most important. You can't fly nowhere in New York unless you have a radio. And Herman and I and the guys here, a group of us here, fly with radios on the regular because we've gone to meetups and I've come home and I had a scratchy voice because I had to yell 75 feet to the guy, what altitude are you at? And that makes a difference. When you have radio communication and a group of guys that say, okay, I'm going to spot for you while you fly, it makes it that much more enjoyable. Well, you think you can just go up and fly a skyscraper or building. You know how we get from one skyscraper to the next? We piggyback. We piggyback from one building to another building to another building. And that's how we get high and higher, and that's how we come back down.
Wow, I never realized that. So you guys actually have walkie-talkies then when you say radio?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I find with that?
Yeah.
Not so much that, well, it does create a safer environment, but I think it makes a lot of guys I think they have a tendency to use the radio more than they would for yelling out their altitude and location and where they would like to move to. I think the radio makes them feel a little bit more important and more involved. And I think the guys are more in tendency to have more fun with using the radio. So they're quicker to use that than to keep broadcasting to you. I'm at 250 feet. I'm over the building, over such and such building. I want to go up to 300 feet. Is anyone at 300 feet? Is it okay to go up?
Right. Exactly.
I think it's great you guys fly as a team. I'm one of those people. I fly 99% of the time by myself. I mean,
same here, Ron.
Yeah, I mean, once or twice a year I fly with somebody else, so I don't have this experience that you guys. It sounds like a great experience.
But this also comes in handy. This radio that we have comes in handy also because we usually have someone wherever we go. We tune into the local police precinct. And the reason for doing that is if anything has happened in the area, we know to bring the drones back. If anything's happened with a drone in another area, we know, look, we didn't lose any drones. We're registered and licensed, and we know they're not part of our party. You know, at any given day here in New York City, I can honestly say, like tomorrow, even though it's going to rain, if it wasn't raining, it would be 75 degrees tomorrow in New York City. When the weather, and we fly all year round, but when the weather gets hot, at any given day, I could say in the 5 boroughs of Manhattan, Southern New York, there's at least a minimum of 50 to 75 drones flying the cities.
Would you take a guess that the greater New York probably has more drones than any other small area in the U.S.?
Oh, probably.
I don't know. That's
per square foot.
Yeah.
Per square foot. That's a very strong possibility because we're so densely populated. Like I said earlier, Herman and I were flying. We did our flights and came back. And this dude just went over us. We didn't know who the hell he was, where he was headed.
I'll be honest with you. That happened when you guys left Highland Park too.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I was packing up, because I told Cool Vic, I said, I'll catch up to him because I wanted to shoot something else.
Right.
And there was a guy flying a Mavic. It looked like a Mavic Air because it was too small to be the Pro or the Zoom.
And many a time
squared that little
the little boxed off nose. Yeah. But many a times we've been flying, like we were flying this 5-star hotel that we shot during the day. We wanted night shots of it because they have a rooftop pool and a balcony where people overlook Manhattan and stuff. In fact, Bill, can I show a picture real quick?
I'm still working.
Let me set it up so I know where the heck it is.
Usually,
I set it up and then be searching for it. So give me. But we were shooting this building, and a guy came in the park, and he's like, "Hey, you guys fly drones?" And he had, I think, a Mavic Mini or something to that effect. He had a Mavic Mini, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm experienced." And the first thing we realize when you're flying with someone, if you have to say you're experienced, you're not. But we don't talk down or anything to anyone. We basically, oh, okay, that's cool. We've been flying here. He asked where we were working because we had vests on, so it was obvious even to the police driving by that whatever we were doing, we were not trying to hide. And we tried to instill this. William Vale Hotel. There it is. William Vale at night.
Well, that brings me back to when we were at Croton.
Here's a shot.
Croton.
Hold on a second. Here's a shot, guys. This is the kind of view you get. Don't show again. Of this. Wait, let's go. Share. Minimize. And this rooftop here, people hang out. And on the summer, up here is a pool. Now, this is a 5-star hotel. We were flying this hotel, and the guy came up to us and was like, yo, do you guys fly? I fly too, blah, 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 blah. You will always run into somebody flying here in New York City. Now, whether they're flying legally it depends on who you run into. But for the most part, we do fly legally here in New York City.
You know what's funny? All you got to do, because I know when they have the parade on Eastern Parkway.
Yeah, John, you're right. The Willie Vale building.
It doesn't get the attention that a lot of other places get. And I can guarantee you there'll be drones up over that.
Yeah. It's a great and FYI, if any of you guys are coming through the New York City area, please hit up those guys. We've had people come into the city and say, yo, where can I fly? And they've gone with the other group, and the other group has sent them to West Bubble F. Okay. So if you want to fly someplace decent, Big John will tell you he's been flying with us for a while too. He's in our group on those guys and stuff like that. But to make a long story short, if you want to know where to fly legally in New York City, come to those guys. We'll tell you. Let us know you're coming. We've had guys come from the United Kingdom and say, yo, I'll be there in so-and-so month, and they've come through.
Wow. That's great.
So don't believe the myth. I mean, for now, tomorrow could be different, but don't believe the myth that flying in New York is illegal, because if it was, the 50 to 75 pilots that fly every day on a regular, you would have heard in the news of some drone pilot getting arrested or some drone pilot hitting a building, blah, 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 blah.
Yep. All right.
That's good. That's good to hear. You know what? I think you guys are, I don't know. I think you guys are a good face of droners of New York City, in all honesty. That's really, really cool.
Right. Somebody should do like an article on you guys and whatever, like that whole drones for good.
Yeah.
Kind of like
you guys funny you say that.
Hmm?
It's funny you say that, because that Herman was saying that the guys from Drone U, they come to Manhattan, and every now and then they do shots on drone flying in New York and stuff. And to be honest, they're asking tourists, where can you fly a drone in New York, instead of people who live here. Yeah.
Well, that's their biggest, the circle that they're around right there with the Sheridan. You know how much that's tourist.
Yeah, it's a tourist trap where they have the DJI store.
All right.
Because what happens is people come from the UK or anywhere in the world, and they find out that, oh wow, I can fly in New York. So where's the DJI store? Right near the hotels.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy comes out and says, yo, I'm a drone pilot. I'll buy this drone, fly New York, and take it back with me. Well, it don't always work like that, because the last tourist that tried it last summer, actually on a Sunday, took his drone up in the middle of Manhattan and went through a 55-story building window.
Oh no!
Monday morning he went in to claim for his drone and to pay for the window, and they arrested him on the spot. They said, "Sure, come up, get your drone." When he got upstairs, they arrested his behind.
All right, John. This is what they made new today on Filmora.
That's scary.
Wait. And I went ahead and did this really quick so that he wouldn't want me to do another one.
There we go. I could come up with some stuff. So some of that. I should have had my mask on, right? There we go. I can breathe a little bit now.
It blew my mind when I saw it. I was like, oh, I gotta download this, man.
That's pretty
time right now.
Yeah, I kind of forgot that they came out with it right now. And I'm like, well, okay. I mean, because there's like an old guy, one of the old guys from one of those cruise ships has just put up a YouTube channel, and he's like in his hospital room, and he's like broadcasting every day. This is what it's like to have, you know what?
You talking about the British guy? Yeah. I watched his whole video on it. I think it's great, personally.
Yeah,
everyone should go watch that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really, but yeah, he's got a lot of viewers and stuff. So I thought it was kind of cool.
Now, I want to point out something, and I'm gonna make this clear. A few of you know that we have a Facebook group called, and I'm not politicking, because I need to clarify this with you, Bill, and whoever else is watching the live stream, because when you hear those guys, then you hear the Facebook group, Those Guys NYC. They are two completely different entities.
Okay.
Herman and I are Those Guys. Okay. Those Guys NYC was created by another Facebook entity that was trying to get back at a group that we were upset with or whatever. But to make a long story short, those guys NYC group is for posting on social media. Those guys, Herman and I, are not affiliated with that Facebook group. Now, we are administrators there. We allow a lot of stuff to go on there. That's not our pet.
Technically, we are affiliated with it, but it's not our actual group. We're just affiliated with the group with admin.
Exactly.
So you don't have a Facebook group?
No, we don't actually own the group. No.
And to be honest, I don't want to be the administrator of any Facebook groups, any social media groups, because I've been there, done that back in MySpace days.
It was actually a group that was given to us to control as admin.
To make fun of another New York City group here after doing certain things.
Those guys, so is that it fell in line with Lawrence and I, and actually was those guys came about in a skit that Lawrence was doing an intro for a video, and I had remembered something that was said to me
about us,
and Lawrence was talking. And we were at Bridge Park. I remember that.
Yeah.
And it just sounded like a good idea to just drop it. And I said, with those guys, and it stuck ever since.
Right. To make a long story short, we were flying with a group of people, and Herman and I realized that people were doing things that we did not agree with. So Herman and I started doing our own thing, but still associating with certain individuals. And at one time and point, one of our mutual friends we hadn't seen for a while, and he was like, well, yo, I was just hanging out with these guys, and they asked, where was I? And I was like, he told them I was flying with Herman and Lawrence. And they said, the guy turned around and said, oh, you was flying with those guys. So Herman we kind of took it and ran with it.
Yeah,
no problem.
That's stuck.
You know, so because we were always, when you go to a meetup and there's 8, 10, 15 guys there, and everybody's laughing and joking and ha ha ha, and then me and Herman walk up and you could hear crickets in the grass. So we decided to take those guys and run with it, and the Facebook group was created because one of those guys' members got kicked out of this Facebook group for something stupid.
Gotcha.
Okay. So the person who created this group, in fact, the name of the group was NYC Fibro Drone Meetup. And the person who created the group, those guys, created the original NYC Fibro Drone Meetup. And we did it to piss them off for a few days, for a week or so. You know, so those guys could go, yay, they took our name, blah, 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 you know. But after a while, I was like, look, we got to end the little kiddie stuff. And let's just name the group Those Guys NYC. Or actually, Those Guys. And someone said, no, name it Those Guys NYC.
Yeah, that's
how the Facebook group is there.
I tell you what, nobody understands the Facebook drama that can happen and crap. Oh, yeah. And Bill, me, and Ron, we know it.
That's why I try to keep
it. John, you're 100% right. I used to do internet radio. Internet radio is the exact same thing we're doing on YouTube right now, except they called it internet radio. There used to be a social network called Livestream and Now Live and those services, right? We used to broadcast on. We had a chat room. We had people on a panel. And the stuff that I experienced there, I mean, the sabotage. And at that time, the TOS, the terms of service of the Now Live that we were on, had it very clear. If you showed any porn or anything, you got deleted. And show how much people were disliking and hating against this live stream that I was doing. And it's for this reason, we do not make everyone an admin. In order to become an admin on Those Guys, you have to come on Those Guys panel. But when you make everyone an admin, back then they had control over your show. So what someone did, they created a fake account on my live stream and showed porn. And at the same second, somebody was reporting this guy showing porn. So they shut me down.
Oh, man.
So I've learned and I've seen all of this drama and I've seen all of this from MySpace back in MySpace days, and now I'm going through it again in Facebook, and it's for that reason. I don't want to be a damn admin or nothing. I just want to
get
pictures and fly.
I get it. I'm pretty much admin in just a couple groups, and that's it. And you know, if any drama ends up in those, then it's like the problem is if you're admin, you can get yourself wrapped up in whatever drama goes on in those groups because the people will try to hold you responsible.
Imagine this, John Cuppi. You go to a Facebook group to join the group because it's an FPV group, and all of a sudden they make you an administrator without telling you.
That's happened. I've been made administrator of groups, and I've been like, who the hell did this? No,
Okay.
It's ridiculous. I tell you what, it's unfortunate too, though, that the live stream platform, it just attracts drama. It really does. Just for some reason, the live stream platform in general, YouTube too, attracts drama, regular uploads, but man, there is just something too about the live format in general that attracts drama. And I don't know what it is. I haven't figured it out.
Oh yeah, but you know, talking about Facebook, I remember when I first started flying, I was making these little cheesy little videos because I was proud of my work. You know, and I
drinking beer too over here. His whole live stream is about the Altel announcement that you made earlier, Lawrence.
Yeah.
He looks like he's feeling no pain. He's really going at it. Yeah, all right. Okay, go. No, maybe it's just root beer. Anyway.
So I joined a couple of groups, and I was in this one group, and I used to put my videos up, and wow, there was two guys. They used to trash my videos weekly. I was like, wow, you guys really make me feel at home.
He
here.
called them Siskel and Ebert.
So I thought I refused
Show.
So
Oh my God.
one day I did another video, and one other guy. This is how I met Anthony Charles, Lawrence. He had left a comment on my video saying any video, any pictures of my city is good for me. So I was like, thank you. It's not that often that you get words of encouragement in this group. And the same two guys that always trash my videos, they jumped on and talking about, we invented this group so that we can get guys and help guys out and critique guys' work. I'm like, so I answered them back and I said, I was talking to Anthony, but the mere fact that you jumped in on that tells me that you know exactly how you get down, Siskel and Ebert.
Yeah.
Oh
my God.
But you can't do nothing about it. And I'm coming to realize the same thing that happened on MySpace and on the internet radio I was doing. You will make friends. You'll meet a lot of great friends, but you'll also meet a lot of a-holes.
Oh, sure.
You know, and back then I was the kind of guy, like I didn't have any problem expressing how I feel. And I have a very, very filthy mouth. I make people cry. All right. You know, and in order to bring that out of me now, it takes a lot more effort. I don't want to have to go through all of that. I'd rather take that energy and focus it on something good. You know, like right now I'm trying to do camera drone videos along with trying to do FPV. You guys out there know yourself. It's hard enough to try and do one thing alone.
Yep.
Great.
And to bounce off what Donnie said, you know, when it comes to trolls, shit, I deal with it all the time too. I mean, it's not a month that goes by that someone doesn't leave some nasty comment on one of my.
You know what? I don't take lightly to bullies. I really don't. I believe if you punch a bully in his, I almost cursed. If you punch a bully in his face, he'll think twice about bothering you again.
Well, do that over the computer is the thing.
You know what? You can do it over the computer, and I have the perfect example. I've mentioned this on those guys. At one time, I play Xbox. I'm a frequent gamer. I believe if I stop playing, arthritis will set in. Okay, that's how much I play. All right, but right, Hadley says he's about flying and kicking trolls' butts. But getting back to the story, I'll be short and sweet. This guy on Xbox was flirting with this girl, and she sent him a poster that she had on the wall and said that was her. He fell in love with her. Make a long story short, she was like, well, I need money for this. And he sent her money. She got his address. Now, he's one of these guys that's, oh, I drank half a bottle of 151 and I took 2 volumes and now I'm about to go ride my motorcycle 6 miles. He's one of those people that everything comes out their mouth is a lie. And he said something stupid to me, and the girl heard, and she said, you want to get him back? And I was like, if I knew where he lived, I could get him back. And she said, I have his address. So what happened was we got on to play the game and he was popping junk. And I said, hold on a second. And I had Google Maps loaded up because I had his address. And I said, you so-and-so need to stop talking so much junk, especially with that dead tree on the right side of your house. And he got quiet. Because I told him the color of his house and I told him what side the dead tree house was on his house, and he disappeared completely. Never saw or heard from him again. So you can get to bullies online. The reach over the internet is possible.
Yeah, you're right. And I actually did have a similar experience with a YouTube commenter. This guy just went absolutely nuts on me. And he thought he had his identity hidden. But basically what it came down to is I tracked his account on a popular RC forum. Mm-hmm. And let's say he had a really high trader rating. He was a well-respected member on there. Mm-hmm. And I basically told him, I figured out who the hell you are. I'm like, if you don't get the hell out of here, I'm just going to out you and no one will ever trade with you again. And he never bothered me again. I never saw him again.
Yep.
He was like, please. He's like, please, just don't expose me on RC groups. He actually, you know what's funny? He actually tried to. He actually told me he was going to send our conversation to my employer. I'm self-employed. He actually ended up finding my own company online because the guy's that stupid. So sometimes it's good to own them like that.
You should have messed with him really hard and said, I will have a really good talking to with that young man. I will represent him. And then
Oh yeah. You know what it was about? It was about my FPV videos, the Vortex.
Something stupid, right?
Yeah. It was about the Vortex 180. He said that the way I mounted the antennas out the back was dumb and stupid. I go back to school. It's like, I don't know.
Yep. That's a good point of the night. I know Lawrence has been up for a long time and needs to get some rest. I am very, very grateful. I'm very grateful to have had you gentlemen on tonight. I would love to have you on again, either singularly or again as a duo sometime in the future so that we could do this again, maybe talk about something else. And with that all being said, I'm going to pass it around the room and let each gentleman say their good evenings. And I will start first with Mr. Novice Quad.
Thank you guys for coming and supporting Coast to Coast and supporting those guys. And we will definitely be back. I had a lot of fun tonight.
And now I will go over to Mr. Phantom Flight 101.
Okay, I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight and supporting Bill. And thanks for having us, Bill. And I'm glad to be here to talk drone talk with everyone and spill the beans on what's going on out there.
Thank you, sir, Mr. Ron Brown.
Thank you, Bill. And I want to apologize to Bill and the panel and the chat for being a little late tonight. But, fantasy baseball calls, but I don't know why, since they won't play. Who knows when they'll ever start the season because of the virus talk. But anyways, it was a great show tonight. What I got to hear of it, I heard some great comments from the guests tonight, Novice Quads and Phantom Flight 101. And if you guys do make it down to Atlantic City this year, definitely get in contact with me and I will be up to meet up with you guys. I want to see all that great stuff you guys talk about with the radios and all that. I can learn a lot from you guys.
Definitely.
You know what? If Atlantic City is still like it was when I was there the last time, I would definitely be there to be able to fly.
Yeah.
I mean, I flew the lighthouse just last month or whatever, and I mean, I had the Mavic Mini, and the only thing it told me was I didn't have to, I was in Class G, but it did tell me not to go over 200 feet or whatever on the Mavic screen, on the Mavic screen. But I was still good. But yeah, definitely, I look forward to you guys getting down there and meeting up. And John, great to see you tonight. Always a pleasure.
And John, I apologize for how late I was, but I am glad that I got to talk to you guys. That was really great. And definitely want to have more shows with you guys on. That would be awesome. I guess as for me, I got toilet paper. I got to start delivering.
You got to get busy.
And as usual, I'm very grateful to have everyone here. And I hope to see you again next week because I got to think of some kind of subject or what we're going to do. Maybe we should try to get Zen on here. Zen Lee, the guy that had his Skydio swiped at gunpoint. Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe not. Right. Maybe not. We'll see what we can do, but please come and join us next week. And hopefully Ethan will be back with us. And with that being said, live long and prosper.